Uh, it's Chesney, and this is my video for my video defense for literature. So basically I'm going to be talking about vulnerability and trustworthiness, and how vulnerability is a bad thing and how you can't always trust everyone. So I chose to use 2 stories in my paper to defend my argument. One story that I chose to use was good, and the other was The Life You Save May Be Your Own. I chose to use, there's 2 people in there that really stood out to me that helped tell the story about vulnerability and trustworthiness, and that was Holga and then Stanley. Holga is this girl who was very disabled. She lost her leg in a hunting accident, which caused her to have to wear a prosthetic, and she really cut herself off from the world. She felt that she was no one. She felt that she had lost everything because she lost her leg, and that caused her to isolate herself from her whole family and herself. And then one day this boy named Stanley arrives at her door selling Bibles. Well, I guess it's kind of true, but not really, because I'll get to that. But long story short, they go on a date because he likes Holga, and eventually she tells him about her leg, and he asks her if he can take it off her, and she's like, okay. And when he takes it off, she immediately says, I felt entirely dependent on him, because she depends on that leg for everything. Once the leg is removed, you're automatically vulnerable to everything because you're dependent on that one thing. And once that one thing is gone, you're literally vulnerable to everything around you. And that's exactly what happened. But as we see further in the story, Stanley isn't this good country boy at all. He's this boy who's a user who uses girls to get what he wants. And eventually Holga finds the truth, and he abandons her on top of a barn, and that leaves her vulnerable to everything. And that just proves my point about trustworthiness. You can't always trust everyone around you, because not all their motives are true, not all their motives are good. And being vulnerable is a bad thing. That leads me to my other story. It's a similar story, The Life You Say May Be Your Own. It's about 2 women, a mother and a daughter, both named Lucy Nell. Lucy Nell, the daughter, she is deaf, and so she automatically has this disability that makes her vulnerable to everything, because being deaf, you don't really have the advantages that a person who can hear has, and that's a problem. And so this man named Mr. Shiflett comes in and offers to help fix up her house, fix up everything around her, help her. And eventually he gets his eye on Lucy Nell's deceased husband's car, and it's like, oh, I want that. And so Lucy Nell, the mother, thinks that she's in control, that she can control everything. And so she tells Shiflett that if he marries her, he can get the car. So he marries her, he takes the car, and then he leaves Lucy Nell, the girl who's dead, her daughter, inside a diner, leaving her vulnerable to anything and everything, because she's deaf. She doesn't really have that power, like the freedom to really say, help me. Like this man who been abandoning me in the middle of nowhere, and say, help me. Like this man who been abandoning me in the middle of nowhere, and just really makes her vulnerable to everything. And that just also proves my point that you can't always trust everyone, because not everyone's your friend. Not everyone who comes into your life saying that I'll do this and that really means their true ways. And as we can see, Stanley and Mr. Shiflett both had different motives. Stanley wanted to seduce Holga and use her to get her leg, and Mr. Shiflett wanted So the last question that I was asked was why vulnerability is this and leads to this. Vulnerability is a bad thing that leads to very bad consequences. Being vulnerable is not a very good thing. You should never be vulnerable. You should always have a way to get around vulnerability. Maybe have, a little power, freedom of speech, something like that. But you should always never be vulnerable, or never put your situation where you could be vulnerable. Don't always have open arms to everyone. Don't always welcome everyone in, especially if you just met them.